Hello, good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Florin Rajendran. Before going to the stories in detail, here's a look at tonight's headlines.
Bribery Commission files case against MP Sajjan Gunawardena. Investigations into 35 million rupee fraud at the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. Central Bank bond issue continues to court controversy.
කොල්ල කාලා තියෙන්නේ අර ආර්ථික කටයුතු ආර්ථික සංවර්ධන ඇමතිවරයා අටින් පැනලා ගිහිල්ලා.
Talks on GSP Plus, EU trade delegation to reach Sri Lanka next week.
President Maithripala Sirisena declared open the new office of the Sri Lanka Freedom Youth Front today.
A group of SLFP seniors, including former President Shandika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga, was present at the event, held at the new office located on TV Jayamawatha, Colombo 10.
Lanka ඉතිහාසයේ දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක් හැදිලා ඊටාම කෙටි කාලයකින් ආණ්ඩු බලය ඇල්ලුවා නම් ඒ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය. බණ්ඩාරනායක මැතිතුමා තරම් මේ රටේ.
If there is a political party in Sri Lanka's history which came into power a short while after its formation, that would be the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. We have not heard of a leader in this country who came into power and suffered as much hardship and stress as Bandaranayake did. It was not enemy forces outside the government. It was not enemy forces outside the government. You are all aware that Bandaranayake was assassinated by a group of monks who gave sermons and pansil to Bandaranayake and members of the cabinet. When considering the assassination of Bandaranayake, we can see the level of inhumanity the party had fallen to and the political conspiracy that was afoot to kill the leader of their own party. Let us reorganize our party and initiate the program to form a government in the near future.
Meanwhile, a special event was also held under the auspices of President Sirisena today to mark the 150th anniversary of the National Hospital in Colombo.
The National Hospital in Colombo, which lays claim to a proud history of 150 years, was established under Governor Henry Ward as the Petta Hospital. While it was later renamed the Colombo General Hospital, the premises have borne witness to some of the darkest chapters in our nation's history. The hospital, which was established with 100 beds and 1 OPD, has transformed over the years into a medical establishment that is prepared to face any emergency. The 150th anniversary celebrations were held today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. I see the National Hospital as the symbol of humanity of our nation. In my experience, having been the Minister of Health for 5 years, we spoke about both the positives and negatives of the free healthcare service in our country. In spite of the free health service being subject to blame on many an occasion, I must also mention that those in foreign countries who know of the service here speak highly of and respect Sri Lanka's free health service, even more than Sri Lankans themselves. Awards were also presented at this event to former directors and staff at the National Hospital.
The Uma Oya Multi-Purpose Development Project. Now, this is a controversial story that has been covered extensively by us here at Newsfirst. Earlier today, President Maithripala Sirisena decided to appoint a cabinet subcommittee to inquire into the controversial Uma Oya project. We have more details on that story coming up later in the bulletin. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption filed a case against MP Sajjan Gunawardena today, citing his failure to declare assets. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption stated that the case was filed at the Colombo High Court under Section 9 of the Assets and Liabilities Act, number 1 of 1975. The Bribery Commission has been recording statements from MP Sajjan Gunawardena over the recent past.
Investigations are currently underway into the 35 million rupee fraud that is alleged to have taken place at the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation under the previous administration. Investigations are being carried out by the Police Special Investigations Unit.
The CPC had rented out a ship from a privately owned company called Lunava to offload a stock of imported fuel after a breakdown at the port buoy, which was to be used to transport the stock of imported fuel in question. Former Minister of Petroleum Industries Anura Priyadarshana was summoned by the Police Special Investigations Unit to obtain a statement prior to the probe into the transactions made between the two parties. The minister, who was grilled for 4 hours, had evaded the journalists who were present at the location by exiting the location through the back door. It has been reported that the procedure that was employed to rent out ships was problematic. They have not been able to efficiently unload the fuel to the smaller ship. The Police Special Investigations Unit of the Police Headquarters is carrying out investigations into the operation that incurred a loss of 35 million rupees. Former Minister of Petroleum Industries and now MP Anura Priyadarshana was summoned by the unit to record a statement at around 10:30 this morning. He had left the premises after the interrogation that concluded at 1:15 p.m. Investigations are continuing. If the need arises, we are hoping to summon the former Minister of Petroleum Industries for another statement.
Minister Rajitha Senaratne commented on the floating armoury maintained by the avant-garde security firm on the Satana political debate programme telecast yesterday.
Now, if you take a look at the floating armoury, the first to let me know about this were the fishermen. I spoke to the DIG about it and he kept me informed about all the developments every hour. He later gave me a report on this. He monitored the situation adequately. What do you think happened later? He was transferred. After the President was informed about this and later Minister John Amaratunga, he took swift measures to put an end to what was happening. This government has all sorts of people. I also found out who was responsible for this. The directive to transfer the DIG was given by someone who is associated with the person who maintained the floating armoury.
The controversial central bank bond issue also captured the attention of government and opposition MPs in Parliament today.
As a result of the central bank governor who does not have citizenship accepting bids of up to 10 billion without informing, Sri Lankan citizens have to pay an additional 9 billion.
We are making an effort to pay off the loans obtained by the former Economic Development Minister. We do not have to pay any additional debts, as you say. I refute that. A committee has been appointed to investigate it and the report will be presented to Parliament.
The Prime Minister has stolen the central bank from the Finance Minister.
Yeah, Honourable Dinesh Gunawardena.
Honourable Deputy Minister knows very well. Can't refer to any other member by name, understanding orders. He'll have to do it under a special resolution. Therefore, I request that the name of Honourable Basil Rajapaksa be deleted in his answer.
අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ කියන නම හැම තැනම ටිපෙක්ස් කරලා දාන්න. ඒකට ඉල්ලීම කරේ දිනේෂ් ගුණවර්ධන ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ.
It is the former Economic Development Minister who stole and now he has fled. He is not in America and now we are looking for him in Vietnam.
MP Sunil Hanunetti presented the adjournment motion in Parliament today on the state of finances at the Treasury under the previous government.
We expected through this debate to discuss the financial problems from the previous government. We have no problems with the opposition evading it. They will not be accountable for what was done. There are some, like the person who controlled half the economy, that fled at midnight when the results were being announced. But we cannot understand why the UNP government, which speaks of good governance, accountability to the people and economic transparency, is not participating in this debate. The debt burden on bonds is currently 24.78 billion rupees. The loss on the bond issue is equivalent to the sum required to build the Gaul-Matra expressway.
Attention was focused on the controversy surrounding the recent central bank bond issue on the Satana political debate programme telecast yesterday as well. When questions were posed on the committee appointed to investigate the alleged fraud, Cabinet spokesperson Minister Rajitha Senaratne had this to say.
The president was about to appoint the committee. Then again, the president was informed that the committee members will be appointed by the Prime Minister himself. Therefore, the president refrained from making appointments. But now the people from the business fraternity have made a request to appoint the committee under the directives of the president, citing that the committee members who are lawyers do not have knowledge about accountancy, neither do they have a sound knowledge about audit reports. We accept that there is an issue. There is a fair argument saying that the committee should be comprised of members from not only the legal fraternity but also other sectors. However, I accept there is an issue. The investigation that is currently ongoing is not a criminal investigation. It is an inter-departmental investigation. Maybe criminal allegations will be uncovered. The governor of the central bank is currently on leave, but we cannot go on for months without a governor.
ලංකාව ප්‍රවේශයක්ද? ඔව්. ඔව්. මොකදම නීතිඥයට දන්නවා සිංගප්පූරු සිටිසන් කෙනෙක් සිංගප්පූරු සිටිසන් කෙනෙක් සිංගප්පූරු සිටිසන්ට බෑනේ ඩුවල්. සිංගප්පූරු ප්‍රවේශයකට කිසි දවසක ද්විත ප්‍රවේශ එයාට දෙනවා කියලා.
It was said that he would be given citizenship here, but I do not know if he gave up citizenship there. If he has, then he can become a Sri Lankan citizen.
මම වගකීමෙන් කියනවා ඔහු ලංකාවේ පුරවැසිභාවය නැවත ලබා ගත්තා කියන කාරණය මම වගකීමෙන් කියනවා.
ඔබතුමා ඡන්දෙ ඉල්ලුවේ මේක පෙන්නලා තමයි දෙන්නේ.
You contested the election highlighting this matter. Now you have power in the government. None of the rogues have been caught. Homes are searched, nothing is found. Some do not even know when they are going to the homes. In the end, the policeman who catches them receives a transfer. So there is no difference between this government and the previous one. Who is the government?
රාජ්‍ය කියන එකක් ආණ්ඩුව කියන එකක්. ඔව් ඒක ආණ්ඩුවක් වෙනස් වුණා. රාජ්‍ය එහෙමමයි. ආණ්ඩුව වෙනස් වුණාට ඒ ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් එකම කරන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවනේ. අපි රාජ්‍යත් එක්ක ඇප් වෙනවා. එයාව අයින් කරනවා. තව එක්කෙනෙක් දානවා. ඉස්සරහට යනවා.
Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Ajit P. Pereira also revealed that a decision has been made to summon Shenuka Seneviratne, the former Foreign Secretary, before the High Post Committee in Parliament.
The minister gave written instructions today for her to be summoned by the High Post Committee in Parliament. Members from all parties in Parliament, including the JVP, are represented there. Definitive questions will be asked, and she says that she too has a story to tell. The charges are serious.
චෝදනා බරපතල අමාත්‍යාංශ බහරෝ තියෙනවා ඒ කිසිම ලේඛනයක් අතුරුදහන් වීමක් නැහැ ඒ සියලුම ලේඛන තිබෙනවා අපි පිළිගන්නවා පරීක්ෂණයක්
අජිතමතුමා පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකේ වල හිටපු ෆොරින් මිනිස්ටර් ජී.එල්. පීරිස් කිව්වේ මේකක් නෑ කියලා. එතන ජී.එල්. පීරිස් බොරුනේ කියලා දෙන පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකට.
ඔව් ඒ තුමත් එක්ක එක බේර ගන්න මම දැක්ක ගන්න වාර්තා.
නෑ නෑ දැන් ඔබතුමානේ දැන් ඉන්නේ කියන්න බෑනේ දැන්. ඒතුමා පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකට බොරු කියන්න බෑනේ. දැන් පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකට බොරු කියන්න බෑනේ.
එම විගණන වාර්තාව අමාත්‍යාංශයේ භාරයේ තියෙනවා. මගේ මේ මොහොතේ දැන් මගේ බෑග් එකේ තියෙනවා.
Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka lodged several complaints with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
The Deputy Minister said he lodged several fresh complaints and also inquired into progress that has been made in investigating complaints lodged by him prior to this. Under the compassionate governance, we are able to submit any files on any of the rogues in the governing party. If there are such corrupt files, we will act on that as well. What Ajit Niwad Kabwal used to do in secret when he was the governor has been done in the open by the new governor Mahindran. An investigation is being held and a committee has been appointed. A 3-member committee has been appointed. At this point, I wish to convey the good news and the message of justice that if he is found guilty, then he too will be brought to the Bribery and Corruption Commission and he will be locked up too.
අනිවාර්යෙන් ඇතුළට යවනවා කියන සුභාරංචිය සහ යුක්ති සහගත පණිවිඩය මම මේ වෙලාවේ දෙන්න කැමතියි.
Welcome back to the news. President Maithripala Sirisena has decided to appoint a cabinet subcommittee to inquire into the controversial Uma-Oya project. President Maithripala Sirisena chaired discussions at the Presidential Secretariat today on the Uma-Oya project.
Now, the President's media division says the President has instructed the Secretary to the Ministry of Mahaweli Development and Environment to compile a report taking into consideration public views, the current state of the Uma-Oya project and the financing of the project. President Sirisena ordered that this report be submitted in time for the next cabinet meeting. Meanwhile, speaking to News First this evening, JVP Uva Provincial Councillor Samantha Vidyaratna had this to say on the matter.
His Excellency President Maithripala Sirisena granted an audience today for the People's Front against the Uma-Oya multi-destruction project which we established. We explained to the President that the manner in which this project was undertaken was wrong. We pointed out that rules and regulations and the relevant laws were cast aside. We also explained the disaster that this project had caused. We explained how this was done on a political agenda using political purpose. He accepted that this project was undertaken for political needs. His decision was that a cabinet paper would be put forward at the next cabinet meeting and that a cabinet subcommittee would be appointed for this purpose. We must make a special mention of the Sirasa Media Network which came to Bandarawala and held a gum at the program where this was discussed extensively with experts and intellectuals. We are especially thankful to you for carrying out the role of the media at this time of national tragedy, and we praise you for the task you undertook.
A high-level delegation from the European Union will arrive in Sri Lanka next week to hold discussions with the government on the GSP Plus trade concessions, which had been withdrawn from Sri Lanka. Now, the Industry and Commerce Ministry quoted EU Ambassador to Sri Lanka, David Daly, as saying that the EU Trade Working Group, a senior delegation on GSP Plus, will be in the country on the 23rd of March to have discussions about the trade facility. The official government news website said that the GSP Plus discussions will begin on the 24th of March. The GSP Plus trade concessions were withdrawn from Sri Lanka after the former regime failed to meet certain conditions on human rights issues.
Fourth Magistrate Thilina Gamage decided today to take up the case pertaining to the abduction of 11 school students to the 1st of April.
The Criminal Investigations Department, making submissions in court, had requested court to grant permission to former Navy spokesperson DKPK Dasanayake, the suspect in connection with the incident, to fly overseas. The recommendation was put forward on a report which makes the Navy commander liable to produce the suspects at the next hearing in court. The court ordered that the report be submitted on the 1st of April.
We have been looking for information about these children for over 7 years. Our children were also to be sent for studies overseas. The Navy says that they have been apprehended. They say that he now wants to go abroad. What will happen to our children? Dasanayake has also intervened in this matter. He's the one who had these children. If he is now attempting to run away, and if our children's lives are in danger, who will be responsible for this? The court had postponed the trial to a further date, ordering that submissions be made over the next few days. The court ordered that submissions be made if the Navy commander will take personal responsibility if he travels overseas, and if not, then the request will be rejected. The court then granted another date for the hearing.
The court had delayed the verdict, keeping in mind that the suspect Navy spokesperson Dasanayake's name was mentioned by the former spokesperson during investigations into the abducted students, and also because investigations are still continuing. Adequate information with regard to this is yet to be revealed in court. We will only find out in the future what this information could lead to.
Welcome back to Primetime News. Today marks the 73rd birth anniversary of the late Gamini Dasanayake, an iconic political figure in Sri Lanka who provided visionary leadership towards instilling change in Sri Lankan politics and the economy.
At a time when the United National Party was facing its darkest times, Gamini Dasanayake won the No-Reli electorate in 1960 and made his debut in Parliament at the age of 28 while still a young attorney. In 1977, the late Dissanayake held the portfolio of Minister of Power and Energy, Irrigation and Highways and provided leadership in the implementation of Sri Lanka's largest project, the Mahaveli Development Project, and also developed the energy sector, the community and housing. He fulfilled these responsibilities while serving as a Minister of Land, Land Development and Mahaveli Development. Gamini Dissanayake, who provided leadership for a change in Sri Lankan politics and led the struggle for the abolishment of the executive presidency, was killed in a heinous suicide bomb attack at a meeting in Totalanga. At the time of his demise, Dissanayake was a presidential candidate. The event to commemorate the late Gamini Dissanayake took place this morning at the Dissanayake Memorial located down Ananda Kumaraswamy Mawathe in Colombo. Relatives, politicians and well-wishers were present to place floral tributes to the late leader's memorial.
I
believe that before the end of April, we will be able to provide a new constitution to the people. I recall the last wish of the late Gamini Dissanayake. He wished for a democratic Sri Lanka. Therefore, we expect that by the end of the month of April, we will be able to introduce a new constitution and make his dream come true.
යම් කිසි දුරකට සැබෑවක් වෙයි කියලා යහපාලනය තුලින් ගිය ආණ්ඩුවේ හිටපු හොරු
Under good governance, if possible, we need to chase away the rogues within the government before the next election. If that happens, the people will have hope in all electorates in the country. We said that we will instill good governance and nab the rogues.
අපි හොරු අල්ලනවා කියලා අපි ඉල්ලුවේ දින 100ක වරමක්.
We sought a 100-day mandate. Even if the timeline moves, we will fulfill the promises, and that is our expectation.
ලබා දෙන්න. මේක තමයි අපේ බලාපොරොත්තුව.
Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, has lauded the dialogue on code of conduct between two schools of Buddhism, Theravada and Mahayana, in New Delhi. Buddhist monks from India and Sri Lanka gathered in New Delhi at the International Buddhist Confederation, or IBC, on Wednesday for a two-day conference to discuss their respective spiritual traditions and values.
The monks held detailed discussions on several topics ranging from the number of standardized offences in the code of conduct of the ordained Buddhist monk known as Bhikkhu and his lifestyle. Approximately 50 monks from the two countries participated in the first day of the dialogue. The chairman of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society, Venerable Banagala Upatissa Thera, was also in attendance at the conference. The second day was attended by the Dalai Lama, where he said that over the years the two schools of Buddhism had developed mutual respect and understanding for each other.
I think since 1960, I tried to bring representative of different Buddhist tradition at Sarnath. So, right from the beginning, I'm very, very keen. But frankly speaking, at that meeting, too much criticize each other. So then I give up. Nowadays, you see, I think people are becoming more mature.
The IBC is an outcome of an unanimous resolution adopted by 900 delegates from 46 countries at the Global Buddhist Congregation, or GBC, held in New Delhi in November 2011.
Sand nourishment to create an artificial beach at Unawatuna is currently taking place. Newsfirst previously visited this world-famous beach and brought to light the damages caused to it due to sea erosion. Newsfirst Krishan Devasagayam visited Unawatuna once again to witness the construction of this artificial beach.
The Unawatuna beach is a stretch of coastline that spans for nearly 1.5 kilometers in the south of Sri Lanka and has attracted both local and foreign tourists for over half a century. It was named among the world's best beaches in 2004. Last month, Newsfirst reported that a breakwater constructed by the Coast Conservation Department was the cause of the destruction at Unawatuna. The once flawless stretch of sand was blanketed with jagged rocks. But today, those scenes are changing once again, and we are happy to report that it is for the better.
This breakwater, which we constructed in order to protect the beach, had some problems with the length in the drawing and was a reason for this severe sea erosion. However, as a solution, we are now creating an artificial beach here. Sand nourishment is the most environmentally friendly solution to this problem.
As hoteliers, we are very happy. This beach, which was taken away from us more than 2 years ago, has now been given back to us. We thank the media as well as the Coast Conservation Department for helping us in our endeavours. I started working on this beach in the year 2000 and I feel this is the best I've seen of Unawatuna. I think now we can market this beach globally.
La prima volta è stato nel 2011 ed era spettacolare perché si poteva mangiare a riva al mare, si facevano le cene romantiche a lume di candela ed era bellissimo. La seconda volta è stato nel 2013 e purtroppo ci siamo trovati
The Coast Conservation Department is reconstructing the Unawatuna beach at a cost of 850 million rupees.
When Newsfirst visited this beach 1 month ago, the sea extended right up to that little stone black wall you could see behind me. But since the story was exposed and authorities realized the gravity of the situation and the amount of damage sea erosion was causing this once world-famous beach, steps were taken to create an artificial beach stretching nearly 1 kilometer to bring back the glory of Unawatuna. Now, as you can see behind me, construction of a pipeline is taking place where sand nourishment is being done to this beach, where sand will be pumped from the sea in order to create this artificial beach. The aim of this, as authorities say, is to bring back the glory of this once famous global landmark.
Over 300,000 metric cubic meters are being pumped from the middle of the ocean in order to recreate the artificial beach at Unawatuna. Meanwhile, the breakwater too is being partially removed in order to rectify the situation.
Now, as the third quarter-final at the ICC Cricket World Cup came to a close, the question on everyone's mind is who will be the final semi-finalists? Who will bring home the World Cup? Now, the problem for Sri Lanka, of course, is that Sri Lanka, being out of the tournament, is out of the running. Here's a look at what's coming up on the news tonight.
Pulled away into the deep. That will be a bounce Yorker. What is that from Maxwell? He's cut it. Monday cricket. Over the top. Smashed out of the middle of the bat from Maxwell. And then a short one. Into the deep, and it's over the top.
Several members of the Sri Lankan cricket team who took part in the ICC Cricket World Cup arrived in the island this morning and afternoon. Skipper Angela Matthews, Layuri Thirimana, Dibut Karunaratne and Sachitra Senanayake arrived early this morning to the island.
TM Dilshan, Seekuge Prasanna, Kusal Janit Pereira, Upul Taranga, Rangana Herath, Dushmanta Chamira, Suranga Lakmal, Tarindu Kaushal Kitruan Vitanage and Tisara Pereira arrived this afternoon. In addition, coaches Marwan Atapattu, Chaminda Vas and Piyal Vijetunga also arrived this afternoon. The team arrived in the island at the VIP terminal. Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Javardhana and Lasit Malinga will arrive in the island in the coming days. As a team, we are highly disappointed since we had high hopes of progressing much further in this tournament. I think I'm not mistaken if I say that this was the worst tournament we played in. I think South Africa performed much better than us on that day, and that was the reason we lost. I feel the best decision after winning the toss was to bat first. I think one needs to be 100% fit before playing a match, and I was not at that level of performance. I'm highly disappointed that I could not play in that match.
Now, Pakistan wasted one of the most brutal spells of bowling seen at a World Cup as Australia progressed to the semi-final against India with a 6-wicket win at the Adelaide Oval. Wahab Riaz did everything he could to help his side defend a meagre score of 213 with 6 overs of pure magic in the middle of Australia's innings.
Pakistan captain Misbah-ul Haq, playing Australia for the first time in an ODI in their backyard, won the toss and elected to bat. It was the first of 3 wickets to fall for just 27 in the space of 6 overs, sending the underdogs into a mid-innings hole from which they never convincingly recovered. Pakistan were eventually bundled out for 213 in 49.5 overs. Glenn Maxwell also continued his outstanding World Cup form, blasting an unbeaten 44 alongside Watson to ensure the scorecard looked as lopsided as it felt for a lot of the day, with Australia chasing down the under-par target with 97 balls to spare. For the second time in recent weeks, Watson played the sheet anchor role as his younger partner teed off, though he did remind everyone of his own aggressive instincts with a couple of thunderous pull shots. Together, Watson and Maxwell sped to the finish line, underlining Australia's superiority on the night and giving India plenty to think about ahead of a mouth-watering semi-final encounter.
Now, in spite of being the star performers for their respective teams today, Australia's Shane Watson and Pakistan's Wahab Riaz have been charged for breaching the International Cricket Council's Code of Conduct. The exact nature of the breach and any possible sanctions are unknown, with the ICC saying that further details will be announced on Saturday.
And with that, we wrap up primetime news here at News First. I'm Florine Rajendran.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder that you can keep abreast of all the news we're following here at News First on www.newsfirst.lk. Good night and good luck.